Yo, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is United versus Everybody. I am Sean, and you are the community, the fans, not the channel fans. I'm not taking credit for that. You guys are the United fans, but you guys are the United fans who make this community what it is, who make this channel what it is, who have helped it grow to over 1,000 subscribers, and can't wait to see what happens next. We are here a little late today. Sorry about that. Just had a lot going on. Fridays are usually my busy mornings with like clients and whatnot. And then my wife was heading out of town this weekend, so I wanted to help her kind of get ready for that and prepare. So I'm here now. I will be coming back a little later on today to do another video where we're going to focus more on Tenhag's pre-match press conference ahead of this match weekend. So come back later on. We'll dive into that and look at our Liverpool preview. But today, we are going to discuss today Jadon Sancho. Will he be a United player next season? Will he be a Chelsea player next season? We're going to talk about some of the latest updates with that. I want to get your thoughts on United's Europa League draw as well, as we see what our league phase looks like. It's still hard for me to call it league phase and not group stage. I'm going to slip up every now and then, so you guys are going to just have to bear with me. And then we're going to talk a little bit about just some of the other latest and greatest transfer news that are popping up. Today's going a little crazy with transfer news. I've seen this linked with so many different names in the last hour alone. There are some interesting matchups in the league phase in the Europa League. I want to get your thoughts on that. Danny, big up in the chat. Justin getting involved. You're trying to catch me out every time. You're not going to do it, man. I was not born yesterday. You got to get up early in the morning to do that. Rajat says, oh, Justin, yeah, we're not playing Galatasaray. I wish we were. I kind of wish we could have got some revenge, but no, we're not playing Galatasaray. So let's get stuck in, everyone, and see what we want to talk about today. So first things first, I want to just talk a little bit about some Ugarte comments that came out. So Ben Jacobs reported this morning that Manuel Ugarte will not be registered in time for this weekend. Fuck my life. Seriously, what is that? That's so annoying that we didn't get this done. Like, I'm so annoying, especially since Jacobs added that United apparently were not in a rush to get him registered since they believed he wouldn't be ready anyway. Like, what is this? Like, this is some amateur hour bullshit, man. I'm not happy about that. He would have been ready had we gotten that deal a little sooner, right? Maybe even last week or a day or two earlier. Like, it's super annoying. But hey, if it saves us a few million, right? Who cares, right? Come on. I know tenhag had some comments on Ugarte. He was asked about that in the press conference. We'll talk about that in the full match preview later on as we look at, starting lineups and tactics and whatnot. But I'm sure it's just going to make me mad because I'm really annoyed right now. So again, be sure to come back later on today for the full preview. Justin says, yeah, it's Fenerbahce, not Gal. Yeah, those Turkish clubs, they all kind of get blurred together every now and then. Besiktas, Fenerbahce. We played Fenerbahce before. Obviously, we played Galatasaray in the playoffs with Besiktas. Actually, here we played a lot of these Turkish clubs. They can be rough places to go to. Not only is playing Mourinho going to be not fun necessarily, but going to Turkey, their Turkish fans are rowdy AF. I've told you guys many times about the Galatasaray fans who traveled to Old Trafford last season for our match against them in the Champions League. That was rowdy. I can't imagine actually going to the Turkish stadiums and being there. So Raja section here, UCL difficulty. Yeah, we just, we got to keep moving forward, right? We don't want to look to the past too much on that. Let's look a little bit about this Jadon Sancho situation. Are you guys happy with this Ugarte situation? He's not going to be ready for tomorrow, not going to be registered. We haven't even gotten an announcement yet from the club as far as Manuel Ugarte is concerned, unless something came up literally within the last 4 minutes or so since I've been live. But let me know your thoughts on that. Are you as annoyed as I am? Are you as frustrated? We know how annoyed I am. You guys have been watching the channel since we were linked, since those talks are progressing. I wanted him in. I wanted him in for the Brighton match. I wanted him in for sure for the Liverpool match. I am going to be a miserable biatch right now because of this. So just going to have to deal with that. Turkish fans passionate. That's one way to look at it, Danny. Passionate. That's a good name. If you ever watch, I always forget the channel name because I haven't watched it in a while. It's not footy adventures. It's something. Copa 90 stories maybe is what it is on YouTube. But they did a lot. They did some of these videos highlighting like some big rivalries, like in Portugal and stuff. But they did one in Turkey. Man, these Turkish fans, like, these motherfuckers are crazy out here in Turkey. Let me tell you something. Like, dudes were losing matches and like getting so depressed that they lost the derby that one fan like walked in front of a train and killed himself. Like, these Turkish fans are nuts. Let me tell you. Danny Elanga could be going to Newcastle. Yeah, I'll touch upon that a little bit time as well. Rajat says there's still time to confirm that deal. I mean, the report is that he's not going to be registered in time. I mean, there's always could be something, but it's not even necessarily that we waited too long to register. Is that the report is that we didn't plan on him being ready for that match because we weren't convinced that he was match fit or whatever you want to call it. He hasn't really played with PSG. So it's just annoying, but whatever. Moving on to Jadon Sancho. So the feeling is that Jadon Sancho is moving closer and closer to a move to Chelsea in the dying minutes of the transfer window, and that's coming from Dharmesh Sheth at Sky Sports. Danny says hopefully he plays in Carabao. Yeah, maybe. Rajat, next time Garnacho plays for Fenerbahce, he can't do that antic. Yeah, if we win against Fenerbahce, I mean, it's just don't even go to the dressing room. Just everybody get your heads down, straight to the bus, straight to the airport, straight home. Don't waste one more minute. And that goes for the traveling fans as well, because you'll get stabbed. So Fabrizio Romano has confirmed too that Chelsea have submitted a bid for Sancho and that Sancho has given the green light for that move. Obviously, the reports of the last few days since Juve kind of pulled out of that was that Sancho wants to go to Chelsea. It's not that easy though, Sancho, just to give your green light. United have to give the green light too. Is this a deal that works in our best interest as well? I've given up a long time ago on caring at all about Sancho's best interest because he clearly doesn't give a shit about this club, about the fans. We know he doesn't care about Ten Hag. So whatever's in Sancho's best interest is literally lowest on my priorities right now. I don't see a whole lot of positives here. Yes, yeah, we get it. We get a problematic player with a bit of an attitude issue out of the club, but it's not going to look good if he goes to Chelsea and he does well for Chelsea, especially if he does well against us in the future. If he excels at Chelsea, it's only going to put more pressure on Ten Hag. It's only going to put more criticism on Ten Hag. And I'm not saying that pressure and that criticism are justified, just it's going to be there. I mean, you're already going to face that pressure. Ten Hag's already faced that pressure. It's just another added thing that we don't need right now. And it is kind of unfortunately a mess that Ten Hag does have a role in. I'm not saying that anything's his fault, I'm not pointing fingers, but he has a role in the way things played out as well. Recency bias means no one's going to mention how Sancho struggled under Ole as well, or any of his behavioral issues that he's had at other clubs, pretty much everywhere he's played. Recency bias is only going to remember the Ten Hag stuff. And so it is what it is. This is a situation we're in. Danny says Chukwuemeka comes our way. Sancho the other way would be nice. Yeah, we'll see. Chukwuemeka's injuries. We mentioned Chukwuemeka yesterday. We've talked a little. I'm going to talk a little about here in a few moments, but he does have his own injuries as well. So we're going to look at some of that as well. Rajesh said he wants to play FIFA any morning. I mean, who doesn't want to play FIFA every morning, right? I mean, I want to play FIFA every morning. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, it is what it is. Are you guys, who do you guys do? You guys manage a career, you play a career. Are you ultimate team players? Let me know in the chat how you get down on FC24. Are you getting FC25 when it comes out in a couple weeks? Rajesh says, until 3 or 5 a.m., he doesn't come to train until it's late to eat lunch. Yeah, Sancho's had some issues. And he's been like this at every club. He had reportedly had some issues at City, issues at Dortmund. He did the same scapegoat thing at Dortmund. Obviously did at United too. If you remember that story from the Nemanja Matic that he told last year in an interview or something, he said that he and some other older players in the dressing room had established this fine system when you were late, and he said Sancho was one of the ones who had to pay the most money. So it's just unprofessional behavior, immature behavior. So Raja says, why didn't Manchester United look at the Nusa deal? Are you talking about Antonio Nusa? I don't think, were we interested in Antonio Nusa? In any case, it's going to not look great if Sancho goes to Chelsea and he does well for Chelsea, again, I'm not trying to say that's a legitimate criticism. I'm just saying it's gonna be there. I'm still of the belief, and call it stubborn, call it petty, call it tribalism. I don't care. I don't want to help Chelsea. I don't want to help them financially by taking a player off their hands. I don't want to help them by giving them Sancho and then only having a loan. I want them to suffer because it's a rival. You want your rivals to struggle. You want them to suffer. You don't want to help them any way you want. Like any little marginal gain you can get in this race for a top 4 space or a title, you want to take that. And so it is what it is. Irfan says Manchester United have an interest in Lille winger Eden. Jay Grover. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Guys are jumping ahead of me. You guys are jumping the gun. I should give you guys control of the channel. Let you guys do it for me. How's that sound? 9 of you guys watching, 2 likes. Don't forget to hit the like button, please, for me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Don't forget to come back later on today as well. I will be doing my Liverpool preview, and then definitely tomorrow, stop by. We're going to be doing our rating the transfer window for United. Not only just the signings, but just the implementation of the recruitment team, how they've gone about changing some of the things, the coaching structure, all that. And then we'll give our expectations and our predictions for the season coming up as well. So don't forget to stop by tomorrow for that. So there's also the chance, right, that Sancho could also struggle at Chelsea. Let's say he goes to Chelsea. He could also struggle because he's struggled, because I've never said that it's been a United thing for Sancho. My thing is I really don't think the Premier League is suited for Sancho. I just don't think he has what it takes. We've seen that from Antony as well. Victor Lindelof is another player like that. I think they're not bad players. Some people will disagree with me on Antony, but it's just not the league for them. And we've seen that all the time. It is what it is. We'll see what happens. There's a chance, that new manager bounce at Chelsea could help Chelsea for a little while. Maresca's new. We've seen it before. We saw it at Spurs last season, new manager bounce. But Chelsea also have a bloated squad with a lot of disgruntled, overpaid players. I could easily see that dressing room turning toxic very quickly. And if you're adding another toxic player into that in Sancho, it's only going to make things worse. So that could be a good thing for us. Who knows? Especially if Maresca keeps publicly exiling players the way he's been doing. Can you imagine if that was Tenhag, by the way, the freaking media frenzy that we'd be dealing with right now? We know from what we've seen from Sancho that all it takes is one comment like that from a manager, and he's going to post this cowardly deflection on social media and delete everything and say he's being scapegoated. That's all it takes, is one little instance of training or in a match or getting subbed off too early or whatever, and Sancho is going to throw a little bitch fit and just kick his toys out of the pram, right? I thought personally a loan with an obligation to Juve would have been ideal. It seems like we just couldn't come up with a deal finances wise, but David Ornstein did add today, though, that as far as the Chelsea move with Sancho is concerned, that a loan with an obligation is still the goal there. So we'll see what happens. Eric did. Yeah, Raja says he may not leave. He might not leave. Who knows what's going to happen? Because again, my next point was there's a possibility that Sancho could stay at United. Because again, just because he gives the green light, just because Chelsea are interested, doesn't mean that we have to take the deal if it's not in our best interest right now. We're under no pressure. It is what he's already been exiled. So it's nothing that we haven't seen before. So if he does stay, it's going to be pretty awkward in that dressing room after the way he's behaved, though. If he stays, do you think Sancho would play? He traveled to Brighton, wasn't even in the matchday squad. Would Ineos want a 300,000 pound a week player just chilling on the bench? Would they want that player exiled from the first team? Do they want that kind of headache? Do you guys even want Sancho back in the squad at all after all this? Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Do you want him to leave? Do you want him to stay? If he stays, do you think he's going to play? Does he deserve to play? I know a lot of people are not happy that he's not yet even come out with any sort of comments on the way he's basically just walked away from the club. He removed everything Manchester United related from social media. Apparently, he threw that bullshit bitch post out the other day about everything about this place is shit with the Manchester UK location tag on there. I mean, the guy's been twerking for pretty much anybody and anybody besides United over the last year and a half or so, and it's just, I think it's in everybody's best interest, obviously, for him to leave. I don't really want him to go to Chelsea. I'd rather he had gone to Juve or PSG. But dude, take the hint and be humbled by the fact that none of these clubs thought highly enough of you, at least not as highly as you think of yourself, to pay the money for you, to pay you what you think you should be paid. Let that be a humbling lesson for you. This is a teachable moment for you, Jadon. Like, utilize that. Let me know your thoughts. And as Danny said, there have been a few rumors that we are actually interested in Carney Chukwuemeka now. That one's coming from Dharmesh Sheth as well with Sky Sports. But then you have Paul Hurst saying that we're not interested in Chukwuemeka, even though Chelsea apparently have offered him as part of the deal. Then there was talks that the Chukwuemeka thing is separate from Sancho. It's who knows anymore. Like I've said, the last couple hours, shit's been going crazy. And so I can't imagine what the squads for all these, for us and Chelsea and whoever, are going to look like by the time this is all done. Raja says no other club rates Sancho that much. I mean, it's the same as the Ronaldo thing, right? Like, Ronaldo clearly didn't want to be here, but nobody wanted to buy him. The only way he could literally go anywhere is if he had to throw a fit, do that bullshit interview with Piers Morgan, and basically force the club's hand to release him from his contract. And still, none of the big clubs wanted him. He had to go to the Saudi League just because he wanted to get paid more money. And so you'd think that these players' egos would, I know they're fragile egos and they think very highly of themselves. And I've already talked about how Ronaldo is a narcissist, but you think at some point you just take the hint and be like, all right, maybe I'm not that guy that I think I am. Who knows? Nick, welcome back, bud. How are you? Let me know. I know a lot of people, we were talking a little bit about Chukwuemeka yesterday. He's popped up a lot today. I know some of the stuff that I saw linking us with him yesterday was literally just speculation by randos on Twitter. It wasn't anything official. We've got some more official stuff today, but who knows how some of these things get started. Would you take Chukwuemeka? I think, you know, he's got a bit of an injury record as well. Same as Mason Mount. I know Jay Motti posted yesterday about Mount's injuries. Here's the problem with injuries, is that it's not, like we said yesterday, it's not necessarily the number of injuries that a player gets. It's more importantly, look at the nature. So a lot of people were calling, I was watching like the Full View on United View. It's a good channel. I like watching the Full View. A lot of good points on there. I think Marcel gets hated on way too much, by the way. Marcel, I know you don't watch. If you do watch, though, my guy, you got some good points. You make some good points, bud. So keep fighting the good fight. But they were talking about some of these injuries and things, and it's not necessarily the number of injuries, it's the nature. So I remember Kenny used to call Lisandro Martinez kind of a flop because of the injury. Well, the nature of Lisandro Martinez's injuries versus like Mason Mount or Luke Shaw or like Phil Jones or whoever, they're completely different. One's an impact injury that's long-term. Someone literally fell on his leg. Can't do anything about that. Broke his foot. The foot was misdiagnosed, needed more surgery. That's not on Licha. The hamstring stuff may not even necessarily be on Mason Mount, but it is a recurring thing. And the problem is when that starts happening, it tends to escalate. Hamstring and ankles, those injuries tend to be very connected as well. They're very, very connected. It's literally a quick Google search will tell you this. I don't know why our physios can't look this up before we sign players, but the whole point being is Chukwuemeka has a few of these issues as well. And so I do worry about that. So let me know your thoughts on that. Danny says, Sean, do you think we sign someone or will it just be Ugarte? Oh, I go back and forth. I don't think Ineos are ignorant of the fact that we do probably need to look at a midfielder. Obviously, we know they're not ignorant of the fact that we do need a left back. We did sell McTominay. We're already thin in that regard. Eriksen might not be here anymore. I don't think Eriksen can completely play anymore at this level. And Mason Mount's not injured. And quite frankly, we have to start planning for the fact that Mount might be injured more than not. So I don't think they're ignorant of the fact that we probably do. I think it's just a question of finances and then a question of there's like a day left in the window. What really realistically can you get done is the problem. And so I think it might be a case where if we did sign someone, I don't think it's going to be someone that a lot of us are going to be too excited about, but we're going to see. So I wish I had a better answer. It's just, I don't know at this point. I've given up trying to figure out this transfer window. Rajat doesn't think we're going to sign anybody else. Danny says it's doubtful. Rajat says AFTV crap, overrated content. Yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of AFTV. I don't watch a whole lot of content that's not Manchester United, just because I really couldn't care a whole lot about other clubs' content. You're not going to find any City ones because, let's face it, they've got like 2 fans. I don't really see a whole lot of Chelsea stuff out there. I see some Liverpool stuff, but it is what it is. The only City person I've seen is Big Steve, and he just talks a lot of nonsense most of the time. Not trying to start a war. I'm just saying he just talks a lot of nonsense. Most of the time, any City content you're going to get is just City fans trying to defend and deflect from their club's charges. So that literally, you could sell tickets to watch City fans do that. It's entertaining. Raja says, if Jadon leaves, they will replace. We'll see. If he leaves, we've got Anthony, Ahmad, Garnacho, and Rashford. Is that enough on the wide? I know it's 4 players, and I know we want 2 in each position, but the quality is not there. We can't really do anything about the quality at this point. We're not going to find a buyer for Anthony. And again, it's one of those things where anybody we sell, we have to replace. And we sell them now, we have to replace them literally in 24 hours, which is just not possible because no other club is going to want to sell a player with that little time left. So we'll see. I know Kingsley Coman hasn't made a decision yet, right? I mean, would you take Kingsley Coman on the wide position? Let me know. I did see those links someone mentioned earlier, linking us with Edin Jagrova. He's obviously an Albanian winger. He plays for Lille. I did a scouting report on Jagrova actually well over a year ago, back when I was writing more scouting reports. I don't think that's going to happen. We saw a lot of reports after that saying there's no way Lille are going to sell him right now. It's literally, how are they going to replace him again? So I think that it's going to be very difficult to get a top player away from another club right now, unless there's some sort of overpaying or maybe some sort of offer in terms of swaptions like the Sancho issue. But I don't see anything really happening. So again, it's just we left a lot of the stuff happened too late on our end, like the Ugarte thing to get him registered. Some of the stuff is unfortunate. You can't really plan on injuries. You can kind of anticipate some of them, like with Shaw and Mason Mount to a degree, but what can you do when a player picks up an injury this late in the window, right? There is, however, a small glimmer of hope that our transfer business might not be finished if you want to read into some of Dan Ashworth's comments today. So he said after the draw, he said, I had a few missed calls in the draw. I kept getting nudged from Sir David Brailsford. My phone is vibrating. Let's see what happens. The window is still open. We've got some conversations going on. So that was coming from Mike Keegan, who said that. So it's anyone's guess at this point, to kind of get back to that, Danny. It seems like maybe the window is not closed per se for us. We could still maybe see something, but I just don't know realistically how that's going to happen. We do need a midfielder, in my opinion, so we'll see. I think if tenhag wants to keep playing the way we've been playing, he's going to need another midfielder and one who presses. Danny Ceballos is still out there. Rabiot is still out there. Amrabat's probably going to Fenerbahce. I think we'll see more of Collier. I don't know if I would call Collier like that high pressing midfield replacement for like the Mount, kind of in that false 9 role. I don't see Collier as playing that way. So Ceballos has really good attacking, ball progression, chance creating numbers. Rabiot, we know, has spent time as box to box. He spent time as a 6. He does get involved. He's all over the pitch. He had a really good game for France. I forget who they played in the Euros, but he had a really good game. He's still out there for free. So we'll see. There's options never off the table, but we'll see what happens. Danny says we need a left back. It's a joke if we don't get someone. Region, even for a squad player, would do a job. Yeah, I just hope it's not Chilwell, man. Like, we do need a left back. I think it's a matter of finances, because if we get a left back on loan, we're gonna have to pay a loan fee. We're gonna have to pay wages, and I think Ineos right now, at least if we got the notes from like that meeting that they had last week, sounds like they're not looking to do any sort of big left back additions this summer. It sounds like we're already planning for the future for left back. And, we've been linked with Nori, Milos Kerkez. We've thrown out a couple names as well. So we'll see what happens. We do need left back. I've said that for months going into the transfer window. We needed a left back, and we left that one late. And lo and behold, what happened? Shaw got injured. So Rajesh says maybe Rabiot is going to Bayern or Milan. Won't mind him as my midfielder at United. I wouldn't mind Rabiot. Rabiot is a very good player. People want to keep bringing up some of the issues that he had with France and PSG. Those issues were literally like 4 or 5 years ago. And what we've seen from Rabiot in the last few years has been very good. And what we saw from him at France in the Euros was very, very good. He was 22, 23 when a lot of that stuff went. And I'm not excusing him, and I'm not at all excited about the idea of working with his agent. But that stuff was a long time ago. So we'll see. You know, we haven't heard a whole lot as far as behavioral or attitude issues since. And so I like to think that there's more recent evidence to suggest that maybe there won't be a whole lot of behavioral issues. The problem is he reportedly wants like upwards of like 240,000 a week or something when he was only on like 150-ish or so a week at Juve. So it's telling that no other club is coming in for him, right? I think it's the wages, but we'll see what happens there. Danny says Chuck will make it be perfect, but word is injuries, like you said, Sean. Yeah, and it's got to be a point where there's no point in bringing in a player if you're already looking at ankles and hamstrings and stuff. Again, they're very connected, the ankle and the hamstring injuries. You often see them kind of start to correlate, and we've already got players who struggle with that. Why we can't be bringing more in? So there are other options out there. I mentioned James Ward-Prowse as well yesterday. He apparently is not in Lopetegui's plans. He could come in and I think be a very good squad option. I think he's better than McTominay in many ways. His set piece delivery and his free kicks are a thing of beauty. I don't like Bruno on corners. I think Bruno's corners are shit. Rashford, we don't have any really good free kick takers at the club. Nothing like James Ward-Prowse. Like, I wish you could have a pinch hitter sometimes in football when it comes to taking free kicks. I would just be like, Jimmy, come out here and take this free kick for us, my guy. But James Ward-Prowse could come in and do a job, I think. Again, Danny Ceballos could come in, Adrian Rabiot. There are options out there. I think if you got creative, I think there's deals to be done. So we'll see. Rajat says, Chilwell is a replacement for Shaw and both never healthy. Yeah. No, we should have gone for Cucurella back when we were linked with him. Cucurella had a very, very good Euros. He's not as bad as some people like to think. The problem had more to do with Chelsea than with Cucurella. When you have that many different managers playing that many different tactics and systems over a short period of time, especially when you just join the club, it is what it is. Like, there's that book behind me, Edge, by Ben Littleton. Literally a whole chapter in there about turnover rate and how it literally kills individual player development. You have that much turnover at a club. We've seen it United too. That's why a big reason, in my opinion, why Rashford hasn't really progressed in some of the ways that we'd like him to, because how many managers have we had since Rashford made his debut? There's a correlation there. I'm not saying it's definitely one or the other. I'm saying there's a correlation, and I'm saying the correlation is statistically proven in that book. So if you guys haven't read that book, Ben Littleton, very good football author. His book, 12 Yards, all about penalty kicks, is a very good book. I read it probably once a year. Really, really good book. Go check it out. Nick says, yeah, on the shelf. That's a lot of books, dude. You don't even, this shelf behind me, there's literally another one straight ahead of me full of books as well. I used to work at bookstores. I used to work at libraries, so the books are like organized as well. And well, at least they were organized when I put them here. Then my wife comes in and wants to read one, and then she just puts it wherever she wants. And I'm like, woman, we're fighting right now. But yeah, this is all just like, I got like classics over here, then I got all the football stuff over here, and then across the way is like fiction and like biographies and stuff. So tons. And this is like after I've literally gotten rid of about 4 or 5 big boxes of them recently. I have a bit of a problem. My name is Sean, and I buy books. Sorry. But yeah, I do have a lot of books, my guy. It sucks when I move, because moving all these books is like a whole truckload in itself. Danny says Reguilon is injury prone too, not too far behind Chilwell and Shaw. Yeah, I mean, Reguilon, I thought, had some really good moments at United when he was here on loan. He had a really good few link-up moments with Rashford. They seem to be a little more in sync. I remember we were linked with him a while back as well. Then he went to Spurs. So we'll see what happens. There's still time, but it is what it is. Maybe we could get a bit of an influx of cash, though, unexpectedly, because I did see a report earlier, and somebody mentioned it earlier, I think it was Danny, that Anthony Elanga might be joining Newcastle. Is that true? Is there legitimacy to that report? It's an interesting one for sure. I do believe we do have a sell-on clause when we sold him to Forest. We sold him for like 15 million pounds to Forest, and I remember the stories back then claiming that could rise to over 20 million if Forest sell him, because we added the sell-on clause in there. So it sounds like the sell-on clause is like, what, 40-ish% or so. So Danny says it was breaking on Sky about an hour ago. Yeah, I saw some reports. I hadn't seen a whole lot of legitimate stuff. So you let me know. I don't get Sky, so it is what it is. But again, another unexpected influx of cash. Ted and Mengi could still be sold by Luton Town to Torino. I know Torino were interested, so we could get some more. That could be another like 10 million unexpected cash right there, honestly. So Raja says, got Sanchez on your back. No, most of my jerseys don't have name sets on them. The ones that do are in frame. So obviously I've got the Giggsy one right here. There's a Cantona one up here you guys can't see. And then over on the other side of the room, I've got 4 similar as this one, the same exact frame, but they make kind of a big square. So I've got a Ronaldo, a Scholes, a Rooney, and a Beckham over there as well. So most of the ones I get that have name sets are ones that I want to put in frames. I've got a Carrick one over there I want to get framed. And then I've got one over here that I need to get another frame for that's signed by Fergie. So I'll put that one in the frame in the future as well. But yeah, I stopped getting the name sets mostly because it costs extra. But they're just, you run the risk. I'm very careful with the jerseys when I wash them. So I don't want anything to get like crinkled or broken or anything. So it is what it is. I got Magaloff, maybe McTominay, right? Or Mata. No, I do remember this. It's funny when I do think of this one, I think of Lukaku, because this is that from the season that we signed Lukaku, right? But yeah, I do think of Sanchez a little bit as well because I remember that whole craziness. But what do you guys think about Elanga going to Newcastle? I know a lot of people were upset when we sold him, and then I know a lot of people were frustrated when he started doing well at Forest, saying, "Oh, we never should have sold him. We never should have sold him." No one's saying he's a bad player. We don't sell. Just because you get sold by United doesn't mean you're a bad player. But let's face it, United is not the same as Forest. Anthony Elanga is another one, kind of like Brandon Williams, Tahith Chong, Tyler Blackett, all these guys that just, yeah, they're good players. They're just not what we need at United. And Anthony Elanga, he was an Ollie player. You could argue he's probably a good under Jose player as well if he'd played more under Jose. He's a counterattacking attacker. That's what Forest play. And so in the tenhag system, he probably looked the same as what Rashford's looking like right now. And so it is what it is. Jemba, there's a name I hadn't heard in a while. I remember somebody put a post out the other day online, trying to remember all the Brazilian players. Not Jemba was one, but it was reminding me of Bebe. And I was trying to remember all the Brazilian players that we've signed and how well, or maybe not how not well they've done when we signed them. But when Justin shows up tomorrow, you guys might do a double take because the dude kind of looks exactly like Rafael da Silva. So we will see. Let's talk a little bit about this Europa League draw. Moving on from some transfer news. So obviously United have learned their opponents for the league phase. I'm trying to remember to say the league phase and not the group stage. Because remember, it is a new format. We have 8 opponents now. We play 4 of them home, 4 of them away. It's one and done, no home and away legs, just boom, boom, boom. That schedule for the matches is going to be released tomorrow. And so I could be either super happy tomorrow when that schedule comes out and the dates to see if they line up, or I could be somewhat annoyed tomorrow on tomorrow's show, depending on how that works out. Because you guys know I'm trying to go back this year. I'm trying to line up a Europa League match with a home Premier League match, and I'm just hoping that the stars align and I can get 2 at home in the same week. If not, I'm going to be an annoying little bitch tomorrow because I'm going to be frustrated about that. Raja, David De Gea got rated as 9.3 last night in 14. Yeah, I saw that he saved the pen as well. Again, no one's saying David De Gea is a bad keeper, and that's not why we got rid of him. He just doesn't suit the system we want to play. So it is what it is. So as far as our Europa League phase opponents, we've got Rangers at home, Porto away, not going to be fun, that one. PAOK at home. They're the Greek side, I believe, from Thessalonia. Fenerbahce away. I called that. Did I not call that, that we were going to get that? So we got to travel to Fenerbahce. Bodo Glimt at home. Victoria Plzeň away. FC 20 at home, which kind of could be interesting for Ten Hag. That's where he started and ended his playing career with FC 20. And then FC SB away as well. So home away, home away, home away. Danny B says maybe if they get Rangers away in a home game, that would work, Sean. Maybe. I'm also kind of I don't know the word to describe it. Like logistically, I like things simple. I like things streamlined. Like Justin and I, when he's here tomorrow, one of the options was October if the Europa League game is at home, but then having to go to London for West Ham away, and I'm like, I don't want to have to travel and do all this, like try to line up different hotels, different flights, different airports and stuff. I like it just to be one location. That's it. But we'll see. There's always options, as Justin's telling me. I'm just like, man, I would like this to be as simple and the least amount of moving parts possible is how I try to live my life most of the time. So Roger says, Andre Onana penalty tactics versus Erling Haaland was funny. Yeah, I mean, I'm up for the shithousery. It was a community shield, so I don't care that much about what he was doing. It is what it is, but it is what I mean. It's fine. Danny B says, Glasgow will be a good trip, then down to Manchester, not too far. Yeah, that's an option. I will keep that one in mind. It's never off the table. If that's the first match, though, I think that's September. That would be too soon, probably. I think September is too soon for the trip. I think the earliest one we could go on is like October. So we'll see what happens. But Porto away is not going to be fun. They were a handful for some really good sides last season in Europe. Alan Varela is a very, very good defensive midfielder. They did lose Taremi and they did lose Evan Nilsson this summer. I know they lost Taremi as a free agent, I believe. Pepe just retired, so they don't have Pepe anymore. So that could be helpful. Who else do they have? I know they have I think they have a little Portuguese right back that's not too bad as well. Pablo Vieira, I want to say his name is. Remind me, I don't know as much about Porto as I used to, since they keep selling all their good players. Rajas, how come Manchester is that rainy? FC Porto has a great kip. Yeah, remember we were linked with him for a while there. He's a good keeper. Danny says, if Liverpool get Varela, I'll be boiling. Hey, hopefully they get him before we play them, because it's gonna be too late now for them to get him now. But if I really like Varela. I liked him when he was at Boca. Varela in particular last year in European competition was very, very good. He was a force of nature. And Porto just were very troublesome against some sides last season. So I'm not too eager about that. You know, Jose was going to want to make a statement against us in Turkey. And hey, we'll get to see Fred and maybe Amrabat again too. So, you know, Fred just had that hat trick. So it would be poetic for him to score against us as well, wouldn't it? We know Jose is just, you never know what's going to happen with Jose. It's been another manager removed since he's gone. So it's not like when he played Ollie and he's playing the guy who replaced him, where there was still very recent, some bad blood. Jose, to me, has kind of toned it down, kind of like Roy Keane. Roy Keane's a teddy bear these days. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We know Jose is just a season or two away from a meltdown. So Raja says, if Man United don't confirm Ugarte, I will be fuming. I don't know what the delay is on this Ugarte situation. I'm getting super annoyed, though. Danny, he bossed Arsenal in Champions League. Really, yeah, he was a boss, man. I like Varela a lot. He's a good midfielder. FC20, again, might be nice for Ten Hag. Again, he started and finished his playing career with them. Again, we won't know the full schedule of that Europa League draw until tomorrow. I'm just praying those home matches line up nicely with the league matches that are at home for my trip. What do you guys think of our opponents? Some of them, you know, a little kind of out there. Victoria Pleasant is, you know, traveling for that's not going to be great. FCSB not going to be great. Yeah. Fenerbahce, that's not going to be fun at all. That one's going to be a freaking cauldron. So we'll see how it goes. But what do you guys think? Your thoughts on that draw? Anybody that you're excited about? Anybody you did not want? Let me know. Danny says, they're stalling the announcement for deadline hours, Rajat, because they are now not signing anyone else. Yeah, we know that sometimes they do that. I try not to look a whole lot at the way we have done things in the past and say that maybe that's the way we're doing things now, because it's a completely different regime. Because, I mean, when was the last time we got announcements on Sundays and we had like two new signings announced on Sunday this summer? So it's interesting to say the least. I don't know. Maybe we know that some of the guys were at the draw. So like obviously, Sir David Brailsford was at the draw and everything, and Dan Ashworth was at the draw. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's something there. Couldn't tell you, but we will see what happens there. I know Ten Hag was asked about it. We'll talk more about that later. What do the other groups look like? Let me zoom in here and see what I can see. So Roma gets Spurs away, so that'll be interesting. Braga, AZ Alkmaar, Bilbao. That's not a fun group for Roma. Porto get Lazio, Olympiacos. I know Olympiacos just won last season as well. Ajax get Lazio, Sociedad, Galatasaray. Dang, so Ajax get Galatasaray. That could be an interesting match. I always like watching some of these other European matches as well, just to see how some of these other teams are getting on. Rangers get Lyon, Spurs. Rangers have a hard first couple matches of this. They get Spurs and United right off the bat. Then they get Lyon, and then they get Olympiacos, who I said just won a European competition last season. So they really need to try to get something out of that. They need to try to at least get like 2 points out of that first 4 matches, because and then they get Nice at the end, which could go either way. Who else we got here? Frankfurt. I remember watching Frankfurt more when back when they had Evan Ndika. I was watching Ndika a lot. He's French center back. I think he went to Roma when he became a free agent. So interesting. Looking just this, I'm trying to still get my head wrapped around what this new whole league phase looks like, but we'll see. Danny says, I don't have a clue how the new setup works. So basically, I mean, I'm looking at pot 1. So pot 1 goes down this side with the 8 sides, and then it shows going this way their schedule home and away. And yeah, so it's interesting. Interesting to say the least. What are your guys' thoughts on the draw? Are you glad we didn't get Galatasaray? Are you excited to go see how Jose is getting on? Are you excited about Porto? I am not excited about Porto. I'm just glad we didn't get any Spanish sides, because we don't tend to do very well against some Spanish sides. We did well against Betis. I was at that match in the Europa League when we beat them. What was that, 4-1 at Old Trafford? Because that was souvenir for me. We saw Wout Weghorst grab a goal, so I will always remember that. I just remember it was also like crazy cold, crazy windy, sideways snow that night. Walking back to the hotel from Old Trafford was not fun at all. The rest of the trip, the weather was fine though, but that first Thursday night was rough. But we'll see how it goes. What are you guys saying in the chat? Let me know your thoughts on the draw. I'm gonna check in real quick on Twitter before I jump off, just because I know shit's been crazy today with these transfer rumors, so I want to make sure I'm not missing anything before I dip out. Again, I will be back later on tonight. I got a few things to go take care of around the house. I want to put together my notes, and I haven't even had a chance to look at Ten Hag's press conference yet. So I'm going to go ahead and look at that. Probably be back a little later on tonight with the Liverpool match preview. So be sure to come back later on. Keep a lookout. Hit the notification bell. Like the video if you haven't yet. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Jacob Steinberg says Manchester United are happy for Jadon Sancho to stay unless Chelsea meet their terms. Remains a complicated deal with talks ongoing. And like I said, we need to like the deal. And as far as Sancho leaving is concerned, we need to make sure it works out for us. And if it's not, then we might not take it and might just have Sancho chilling. If Sancho wanted to make this easier, he shouldn't have acted like a little brat for the last year, but it is what it is. So that is going to do it for me. Thank you guys for stopping by. Rajat, Danny, Nick. Who else? I know there was someone else way up there. Justin stopped by. Irfane, there he is, my guy. Leave a thought in the comment. Leave your reactions to the draw. Leave your reactions to some of the Sancho news if you weren't able to catch the live again. I will be back later on this evening with the match preview, so be sure to stop by for that. And then don't forget to come by Saturday. We are going to be doing the big transfer window rating video, and then we're going to be talking about expectations and predictions for the season as well. So come back for that. Get your thoughts in on that. It's going to be a fun video. Justin's going to be here with me, kind of like Dylan was for the award show. Go ahead and watch that one if you haven't yet. That was a fun one. Until then, I will see you guys in a few hours. Take care, and I will talk to you then. Bye.